Farida, ma'am. I think students are joining. We can start. They will join, ma'am.
Okay, okay, already 19 participants. Yeah, they are gradually joining. Shall we start? Good evening, everyone. On behalf of our Department of Computer Science and Engineering, I would like to welcome Mr. Meer Waqar Ali, Senior Project Manager IT, Datawise Management Services, India Private Limited, Hyderabad, to deliver a webinar on Web 3.0 and business applications. Mr. Meer Waqar Ali is currently the Senior Project Manager of IT Department at Datawise, Hyderabad, with more than 10 years of experiences in application and development in various domains such as banking, automobile, and service-based industries. He has extensive experience in web technologies and software development. Graduated from University of Mumbai and has worked with Tata Interactive Systems and Accenture prior to his current role. So today, Mr. Waqar Ali will be delivering a webinar on Web 3.0 and business application, which is a third generation of internet that revolves around the decentralization and protection of privacy for individuals. So, driven by today's most disruptive technologies like blockchain, artificial intelligence, and machine learning, Web 3.0 will bring changes in internet infrastructure and impact how business operates. So, in this presentation, he will be describing or he will make us understand in detail in elaborate form how exactly Web 3.0 will work. I'm passing on the floor to Mr. Waqar.
Hello everyone.
Hello, sir.
Thank you so much for a brief introduction. Before we start, let me first thank Dr. Farida Ali for providing me this opportunity to present a webinar for your university students and teachers, faculty members.
So, sir, so can we have your video on
Yeah,
for the
just,
first few minutes at least?
just give me a moment. Um, is it visible now to everyone?
Sir, yes, sir. And sir, if you're going to share your screen for the first slide,
Just a moment.
just check it out if it's working fine.
I think now my screen would be visible to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So before we start the topic, let me just give you a slightly brief about what experience I have and what background I have in this industry. So I've been working with web technologies for almost last 10 years now, and mostly I've been involved in back-end, front-end technologies, with creating web applications for different kind of businesses like e-commerce, banking applications, and other business applications. So this is a very brief background about myself, and today we're gonna talk about Web 3.0 and the business application of this technology, how we can utilize this technology with different scenarios in different kind of businesses. So let me just start with the definition. So Web 3.0 is one of the most recent internet technologies combining machine learning, artificial intelligence, and blockchain. It also uses NLP, which is neural processing language, and Web 3.0 will allow individuals to not only own and control the data, but also to get reimbursed for their online time. So when we talk about Web 3.0, this is an evolving technology. Um, there are different layers in this technology which come together and make Web 3.0 as a solution for this new generation of internet. And this is still, there are a lot of concept in Web 3.0 where people are still doing the research and they're understanding how they can make it more stable version of the web. So when we talk about this technology, everyone in our daily life uses internet, and when internet has initially started, it has started in 1989, which is called as Web 1.0, which is the very first version release of the internet, which uses very basic technologies like static web pages and web forms. You can say there are certain directories which are available in those years, and after that it has evolved after 15 years almost to Web 2.0, which has started using web applications, interactivity in the website. So in general, if you wanted to differentiate between Web 1.0 and Web 2.0, Web 1.0 is basically the plain and static version of website where you can only see the static content and images. One of the major difference between Web 1.0 and 2.0 is it was the 1.0 version was only read only mode, like people cannot interact with the web pages. In nowadays, let's say if I wanted to send some messages on my Facebook, so I can interact with my application. If I wanted to do some form submission or do some calculation on the internet, I can do that. But during that period, it was very minimal and it was not interactive at all. One of the thing which I would like to tell about Web 1.0 was it was um, decentralized. When we say what is decentralized, means the content itself, the content itself is placed in a particular server, and then user can see those content and they can browse the content. In the era of Web 2.0, basically the content, if I'm interacting or if I'm browsing any kind of web page, and let's say I can log into a particular application, so all my data can save into a central database, which some company or some authority will have the access to that database. It was not in earlier time of web applications. Um, One more thing which is which has changed very significantly on web is the way how we advertise on the internet. So if you guys have remember in 90s or early uh, 2000s, a lot of web pages were flashing some banners of advertising, and you can't do anything. They just flash the banner for advertising, and you will have a lot of information which you can see, and you can know about a particular product or a particular service. But in case of web 2.0, people have started using internet with more interactive manner. Like the advertisement which we see nowadays, it is more personalized, based on your keyword searches, based on the tagging what you have entered for a particular product. So let's say that if somebody has publish a website and they provide particular products for sale, and they wanted to advertise their products on the Google ads, so they use different kind of keywords. Let's say for a mobile phone, they will use different features of the mobile phone as a keyword, so that if somebody is searching those keywords, then the search result will appear for that particular person. Moving forward, when we see web 3.0, it is more read, write, and execute of the version which we are going to experience in next few years. It is more individual focus. It consolidate the content of individual. So let's take an example of NFTs. So during the period of Web 2.0 or recently, a lot of people who are publishing their content online, there is no guarantee that they will have the ownership of these content. But due to the recent technology of NFTs, people can publish their content online, and they will also have the ownership of those content by themselves, and they can keep the NFTs with them, or if they wanted to sell the NFTs, they can sell the NFTs also. Um, with the use of more, if you see the difference between these three layers of technology. So initially, in the time of web 1.0, we have very static web forms which we used to submit, and or there is one more thing, that these web forms basically collect the data in form of emails. So if I wanted to collect some data from a user, so I would have to create a web form, and then I have to send the email, and then they will fill up the data and they will send back to me. So email was introduced during web 1.0. But moving forward, there are more interactive web applications are created. So let's say in today's time, if somebody is applying for a, just give me a moment. What happened?
Your video is not full.
Okay, because I'm
No.
closer.
Keep the camera in the center.
This is fine.
You can see the preview na here.
I can't see the preview. Anyways, let's see. Okay, sorry for the interruption. Okay, so as I was talking about the practical use of web applications or forms, let's say if due to COVID, a lot of people have started doing remote jobs, and companies and organizations have initiated to adapt the process of onboarding and um, interview process online, and they've used extensively the web for in order to enable those processes from offline to online mode. When we move forward, the web will become very intelligent, and it uses the artificial intelligence mechanism to analyze the users data, users what. So let's say that if I have um, an online application form, so it will be personalized based on my experience, based on my expertise, and I have to spend less time in filling those forms. So this is how the web has evolved from the time when it has initially started till the date. And yes, definitely web 3.0 is very new and unexplored technology. there are certain layers in Web 3.0 where people have started using this technology, but the adaptation is very slow right now. But yes, sooner or later we will move to Web 3.0. So this is all about the journey of different version of web on the internet. So moving forward, there are certain features of Web 3.0 which you can say that are the core component of Web 3.0, which either mix together or individual build this um, framework. So the first one is semantic web, decentralization of application, edge computing. So we'll talk in detail about all these things, but these are the main three features, and the next three are 3D graphics, artificial intelligence, and ubiquity. So when we talk about all these six features, either they combine together or individual. Let's say there is an application which is using artificial intelligence and 3D graphics. So one of the example of 3D graphics is Metaverse is using nowadays to create a virtual interactive platform for socializing online. So if you see the previous version of internet, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have different social media platforms where we can interact with people, but with text messages, with video calls. Moving forward, using these technologies, people can actually sit in a conference room and sit in a restaurant, and they can actually see each other talking to each other. And also I think would be very beneficial for someone who wanted to conduct an online session, let's say, because of unavailability of certain parameters like distance. Okay, so if somebody is sitting in Hyderabad and they wanted to deliver a lecture, they wanted to have a meeting with the client, they can have these virtual meeting rooms which they can use to um, deliver the sessions, and it also gives the personalized experience. So yeah, so it is more about giving the personalized experience and more intelligent way of handling the technology. So moving forward, we'll understand about each of these features one by one, and we'll see how it can impact with different examples on the daily businesses or internet. So the first one is semantic web. Semantic is a study of relationship between words. Therefore, the semantic web, according to Berners-Lee, who is the founder of Web 1.0, enables computers to analyze loads of data from the web, which includes content, transactions, and links between persons. Applying semantics on the web would enable machine to decode meaning and emotions by analyzing data. Sequentially, internet users will have better experience driven by enhanced data connectivity. So this was very theoretical statement about semantic web, but if I have to decode this statement, let me give you an example. That semantic is nothing but the study of relationship between words. I would say that let's say on Google search, if you type "I am happy" in letters, and on the other hand, if you type "I am" and you put a smiley of happy face, okay, so for internet those are two different sentences, but semantically the meaning of those two sentences are same. Web 3.0 enables the semantic web, so that if somebody is typing something in different language or in different form of text, then also it will understand the meaning using the relationship between those words. So this is in a nutshell about what is semantic web. So, and obviously yes, it is beneficial to deliver the better search experience also. So this is how the semantic web works, and it is also useful to um, deliver better search content. So when I say this, deliver better search content means nowadays, if as I used earlier the same example, that if somebody wanted to advertise on search engine or any other platform, they use keywords basically, and they tag keywords to find a particular article. So let's say I have written some article on um, XYZ technology, and I added some keywords there so that if somebody is trying to search this article, they will land on the search result and they can come to the article page. In case of Web 3.0, using Semantic Web, you don't need to apply keywords. Basically, the internet will be intelligent enough to analyze the content of your article, and when you try to type something, based on the analysis of the data or keywords which you have typed, it will give you, or it will give the user the desired results. So it is much more intelligent, I would say. The second and a very important feature is decentralization. Decentralization is nothing but using blockchain technology, putting your application code and data into different blocks of servers. So if you see the theoretical definition, decentralized data network allows different data producers to sell or exchange their data without losing ownership, jeopardizing privacy, or relying on middlemen. As a result, in the emerging data economy, decentralized data networks will have a large list of data providers. In Web 3.0, data is decentralized, which implies that consumers will control their data. Decentralized data networks allow different data producers to sell or exchange their data without losing ownership. So yeah, so as we talk about use of NFTs over a few years, I would say that if there is no central authority who owns the data, then the ownership of data is with the user itself. If I can say that Facebook has recently uh, been into some controversies that they are using individuals' data to manipulate some of the search result, to manipulate different section of the society, because they have a large amount of data and they are a central authority. Like, they have a database where they have millions and billions of data, billions of rows of data. So they use this data to analyze the user's behavior, and out of this they give you personalized advertisement or marketing communication emails, so that they can earn money from the different brands or different agencies. Okay, so this is what Web 3.0 will enable, that it will decentralize the application so that no single authority will have the control on the data. So your data will be distributed in a different blockchains, and it will be available in peer-to-peer network. So let's say that you are sitting on your system and you wanted to access content which you have uploaded on a Web 3.0 enabled decentralized application. This content, first thing, is available in different blocks across the world. And let's say tomorrow there is some attack happen on the server and the data is lost. So because of centralized application database, it is much more crucial that there is a major chances to lose the data. But in decentralized application, your chances of losing the data will reduce. if I can give you an example of what is different in the previous version of web and decentralized web is, let's say that the developers who build the application, there is a part of front end which they build, which is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript code. There is a back end part which is all the logic, back end database connectivity, and um, business logics code and everything, which is purposely in the backend servers. Then you have database, which is obviously the central database. Either it can be in one place or multiple places, but it is central and controlled by one single authority. There are APIs involved, which can be used to communicate between your front end and back end or different microservices in your application. And so combining all these different technologies, you see one application, you are using one application basically, but the decentralized application architecture is slightly different. You have a same front end application which serves the static HTML, CSS, and JavaScript based pages, but instead of using a backend or database, central database, they have a blockchain based technology which you can use to deploy the logic of your application in form of so blockchain. So I think recently one of the most successful blockchain uh, provider is Ethereum, which provide a service so that you can deploy your code, backend logic basically, in their virtual machines, and it will be distributed across the globe, and it can be accessible but not centrally stored in any form of database or backend code. So because of this, it gives you the flexibility and trust to rely on the data. Uh, Moving forward, the next thing which is the feature, and which is, I think, have people have started using it oftenly, but it has not evolved as, is edge computing. So when we talk about edge computing, it is nothing but um, computing from the client application. Or I would say that let's say, take an example, you have a mobile phone and you have a watch, which is a digital watch, and mobile phone and watch are both interconnected to each other. Okay. And in traditional way, what happens that if your watch is consuming some data, it used to send the data to the server. And same for the mobile phone and other IoT devices also, like whatever the devices you have, it sends all the data from different devices to a central storage or database, and from there the database and backend will process these data, and they evaluate the data, and then they give us the output. In edge computing, basically they have limited the use of sending more and more data to the servers. So if I can give you one example, um, let's take a real life example. So we are in a business of doing surveys, so we conduct different kind of surveys, and we receive a lot of survey forms on a day-to-day basis, which the system, we have written some backend logic in the system which evaluates those survey results, and then it does a review basically. So let's say that if somebody is filling the survey form, and that survey form is filled in 10 seconds, which has almost 30 questions in it, which is impossible for a human being to fill the form. So what we do basically, we have written some backend code on the server which analyze those kind of survey forms, and then it rejects automatically using the algorithm which we have written internally. If you wanted to use the benefit of edge computing, then in those cases you will not send those data to the servers because those data are invalid. You will not use those data, or eventually you will use it, but at at the end of the result you don't need the rejected survey forms. So what edge computing defines is that you process and analyze all the data, whether it is a valid survey or not valid survey, on the client system directly. So if I'm filling up the survey form on my mobile phone, then it analyzes and does all the logic in the mobile phone, and then it automatically remove all the negative surveys or delete all the surveys which are not required, and it only send the data which is required for the survey servers. So this is one of the example which I can give you for the edge computing. Moving forward, one of the important part in Web 3.0 is use of extensively 3D graphics. So in case of, let's say, the previous version, the recent version of web, we use graphics which are two-dimensional graphic. So and they don't have any interactivity in it, so you cannot actually feel, or it will not give you the real experience as the 3D graphics can give you. So 3D graphic uses in web 3.0 is supposed to be increased very rapidly. If I can give you an example, so in most of us are using a Flipkart application and Amazon application. So in, I think in last 1 year I have started observing that they have introduced a feature called product 3D or 360 view. This is nothing but one of the feature of web 3.0, that you can actually see the product um, from different dimensions. And let's take an example of Apple AR, which whenever they launch any new Apple product, they provide you the web interface which you can use, and they integrate a AR technology in their application websites, which if you wanted to see the application, see the product live in your hand or on your desk, you can just use that AR scanner, and then you can see the application, see the product. Okay, so this is what we mean by 3D graphic, and as we grow further, move further, the more and more we will use these 3D graphic in different kind of applications. One of the best use cases of 3D graphics which I have seen is room tour. A lot of time when people are buying any real estate property or um, any house, they don't get enough time in to go and visit each and every property. So a lot of different real estate e-commerce have an initial impression of the area which, or the different part of the home, so that you can see what application, how big it is, and how much how you can navigate to different room, from one room to other room. So it is beneficial for the future. Moving forward, so artificial intelligence is basically the core of web 3.0. If you take any example of the application which I talk about so far, you can use artificial intelligence to enhance the capability of the application. So with neural net language processing and web 3.0, you can enable artificial intelligence in your application. And so if you see the definition, to meet the needs of users, they grow increasingly intelligent. Even though web 2.0 has similar capabilities, it is still mostly human based, allowing for corrupt parties such as bias, product assessment, manipulation, rating, and so on. Okay, so when we talk about how efficiently we can use AI, in any kind of business case, then let's say there's a Google reviews mechanism where people go and review on certain hotels and then review on certain products, certain locations. So a lot of time, if there's a brand who has money to spend and they have people, they use the the artificial bots to generate these kind of reviews, and which can impact on the product actual performance or product's actual view. So with using artificial intelligence, we can reduce or minimum these kind of incidents. Recently, I've seen that on IMDb, if people can go and rate a particular movie or a particular series, and if they're using bots to do the review, the systems can't detect all these things automatically, because it anyways take everything as a input and then it just add the data into the database as a bad review or a good review. So manipulation can happen, and it happened all the time on internet. But if you're using AI technologies, you can reduce or minimize the manipulation on the internet. The last thing which I would like to talk about is ubiquity. When we talk about ubiquity, is it is highly based on IoT sensors and make the internet available to everyone everywhere at any time. So if you see the what is the definition of ubiquity, is present everywhere and simultaneously available all the time. So let's say that with Web 3.0, your different devices like mobile phones and laptops and handheld devices are interconnected to each other, and you are always available online. So let's say that you don't have you're going for a jogging and you don't want to have your phone with yourself, so you just keep your phone at home and then you just go away with your iWatch. But these two devices are interconnected to each other, and whatever the data that you are your watch is recording, it keeps syncing with your um, mobile phone or other devices. So to sum up this feature, it means that um, it enables your different devices to available even though if one of the devices is offline or away from you, but those are interconnected to each other, and um, you can send the data or sync the data between all these devices. So this is what we define ubiquity as. Moving forward, we have seen what are the features or what are the layers which are available or technology which are available in Web 3.0. There are a lot of benefits using combining these technology if you can enable an application with Web 3.0. So some of these benefits are data privacy and control. Yes, when we say that if I am a user and I wanted to sign up on a particular website, so for a for an extreme user who is using internet almost 6 to 8 hours a day, if they are browsing to different website for reading content and doing some research work, a lot of time different website ask you for the sign up or login before you can see the details of the page. So the data privacy is not there, because when you at the moment when you sign up, the company can receive your email IDs, name detail, personal detail, mobile number, and other things, and you don't want to provide all those details. So Web 3.0 uses a technology called tokenization, which enables and which where you can store your individual data to a particular token, and whenever you're browsing any application or if you wanted to sign up or log in with authentication, you can use simply these tokens, and you can control. The best part is you can control wherever or which um, organization is using your personal information, and you can also delete those information. So nowadays what happened, that if you wanted to unsubscribe from an emailer, you just click on the unsubscribe button, it will send the data to the recipient company, and they will review, okay fine, you wanted to unsubscribe from so and so mailer or so and so marketing advertisement, and they unsubscribe you, which is a manual process, and they control the data. If they don't want to delete it, they will not. If so this is how secure the data is in Web 3.0, that you have the control on your data. You, whenever you want to remove your data from that company, you can remove it, because all the data is not centrally available, it is in the form of blockchain. Seamless services, which is like as we just recently talked about Ubiquity, that even though if you are not connected with one of the device, but your other devices are connected with each other, and you will have very seamless services with different devices and um, technology. So this is about it. Transparency, yes. As I said, that you have control, and you also know which company is using your data and where is your data. So you have complete transparency on your data. Wherever you wanted to remove your data, you can do it. Open accessibility to data. So a lot of companies, you have the complete access to your data. Restrictionless platform. So when we talk about restrictionless platform, a user cannot be restricted on the network based on their gender, income, geographical location, or sociological factor. So let's take an example of Google search, and you're trying to search something, and you are in a geographical location from where certain content is not available. So in Web 3.0, there is no such, there will be no such restriction on platform, that you can, if you are from so and so geographical location, then only you can access certain application or certain pages of the web. Single profile creation, yeah, we talk about how we can use tokenization to create one single profile, and you can reuse in different website or different application which people are asking for. So if I can talk about, in Web 2.0 we have such feature, but it is centralized saved. So let's say I'm using a sign in method as login as Google or login as Apple, but the recipient company is using my Google account to authenticate my data, and they receive those data, and they save those data in their database also. But here in this case, you provide your token, and your data is only used to enable you to create your profile there. But the moment when you wanted to delete your profile or remove your data from the um, um certain platform, you can do that. Enhanced data processing, yes, with use of artificial intelligence and semantic, your data is processed very smartly. You can search your content, you can advertise your content without putting a lot of effort, because all these things are taken care by artificial intelligence. Systems are getting trained right now, because these technology requires enormous amount of data to process and to understand and behave like a normal human being. um, it is evolving, but it will eventually take some time to completely settle down, and then we can leverage the benefit from here. So the last thing which I would like to talk about is the business application, how Web 3.0 is impacting on businesses, and how it can impact the different customer base and different users across dimensions. So one of the core thing in Web um, 3.0 is a use of blockchain technology, because it is trying to reduce the central authority data collection mechanism of Web 2.0. So blockchain is the core of creating any kind of such infrastructure. So it is very required in any business which wanted to, which is trying to have these kind of feature. They should first upgrade to blockchains. They should move from the central database to the blockchain technology, so that they can start enabling different features in the mm, in their application. So the first application is there is no third party required in this technology. So blockchain smart contracts and decentralized applications eliminate third party service providers. For example, cryptocurrency reduce the need of bank, and all financial transactions are between the two parties only. So when we say this thing, it means that if I wanted to sell something on a particular e-commerce platform, then there is a central or there is a middleman who, from where I need to do my transaction. Or if I have my own website, still I need to have some kind of payment gateway integrated into my application, so that I can do transaction via this payment gateway. It increases the cost, because a lot of time when you integrate or use these kind of services, it eventually add up as a percentage basis on your transactions. Like if you're doing a transaction of 100 rupees, then transaction fee of 2% or 3% is applicable for this transaction. And also the central authority will have the data of your transaction, like you're doing transaction from person A to person B. These data are stored in these database of central authorities, so which is very critical. And that's the reason why, if there is no third party involved, you can do the transaction between yourself. It moving forward, improved regulation compliance, because blockchain is an unchangeable record of transaction visible to everyone on the chain. Thus, it makes it easy for companies to comply with their governance requirement by maintaining transparency. So, let's say that there's a company which claim that we are GDPR compliant and we don't save your data. Whenever you want, we can delete your data. And eventually they save your data. Whenever you request, the company does not delete your data. There are large social media platforms and applications who keep your data for as long as they wanted to keep, and they utilize this data, as they will say that we'll utilize your data for the analysis purpose, study purpose, but they have your data eventually. So when you're having a blockchain technology and your backend and your database is available in these platforms, then there is complete transparency that if I am giving my data, how it is utilized, what is the code written here. So people will have access to everything. So they can see if they are saving your data or not, or if you wanted to remove the things, you can remove it. So it is beneficial for companies. So let's say I, as a company, I integrated blockchain, so I can say that my data is completely visible to everyone, and I am compiling with all the regulations which is provided by GDPR or government of India, like that. Greater accountability. So on the other end, thanks to blockchain, every transaction can be tracked to make companies accountable for their actions. This make it easier for people to buy products from businesses with a positive reputation. So yeah, if your transaction is visible to people outside the business, then it is better for you to build a brand with more visibility. Improved security. Web 3.0 makes it much harder for hackers to access sensitive information. Because of blockchain's decentralized and distributed nature, there is no single point of failure, which makes it more difficult to corrupt. Blockchain data cannot be altered or manipulated, so businesses will be able to worry less about data theft and data breaches. One of the important point for businesses which are doing transactional data which has transactional data which save a lot of credit information in the database. So they always worry about data getting corrupt or data getting stolen or hacked. So with the help of blockchain, you will get improved security in your with your data. Improved customer relation, supply chain management. These two things are very important because when your data is visible to people outside the world and it is decentralized, so everyone can see the data and it can create eventually the customer relations much more better. Supply chain management, just like that, if everything is available, so people can see and track their service information or product information easily. So it is again giving much more control to the user. So if at the core, if you see the reason behind the transformation from web 2.0 and 2.3.0 is it gives more control to the user. So user have a lot of access to the data, how they wanted to use the application. Okay, so this is few examples or cases where you can apply web 3.0 technologies and you can improve your business or services. So I think that's it from my side. I would still have some time, and if anyone wanted to ask some question, you can ask.
There is a query, sir.
Yeah.
How is the token process functioning in Web 3.0 as controlling in distributed system can be challenging?
So tokenization is currently available with different kind of service providers. So there are certain blockchain provider which gives you the um, access to create tokens for your profile, and but at the same time the platforms which you are using, let's say you are using Amazon, till the time Amazon does not allow tokenization login, it will not work. So even though if you have this mechanism enabled for yourself, but if so that's why I said that adaptation is in progress right now. So if more and more people or more and more platforms start adapting, and eventually they have to adapt, because if the complete market is adapting it, then they can't stay behind. So all the big companies will adapt all these mechanisms. So let's say Bitcoin payments. So a lot of countries have regulation for Bitcoin payments, but since countries are also going towards enabling Bitcoin payments, so eventually it will come later sooner, but people will have to enable these features.
Thank you,
Sir,
sir.
I have a query.
Oh,
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, in days to come, since this technology is likely to take over, it's very appealing. So, for students who would enter the industry in, in the coming few years, so what kind of tools or technologies they should, or certification they should likely, venture into, because to keep themselves updated with the need that is there in the industry?
Okay. So I think the features that we talk about for Web 2.0, which is blockchain, artificial intelligence, all these technologies combine and they create a um, layer of Web 3.0. So if they are into any of these technologies or they wanted to get certified, there are a lot of different. So when we talk about Ethereum, so Ethereum has provided the platform where you can deploy your code into blockchain. So if they wanted to certify on those things, they can certify. There are certain JavaScript libraries which are available to develop backend and the databases. So there is web3.js framework which I remember. They can start learning and they can start. I don't think so that certification on academic level has started, or they have enabled these things right now, but for the learning purpose they can use internet, and they can use all this open source library. There is um, main authority who has initiated web 3.0 is Web Summit, so they can go to their official website where they have provided several case studies to understand how web 3.0 will work. And they also provide different open source libraries to practice these applications and to how you can deploy these applications.
So, sir, I have another doubt, sir. Like now everything is on cloud, so but blockchain is on the contrary on how it works. So, how are we going to see things like in the days to come? The way the businesses function, would they all move? Like, would they just cease to be on cloud and
Yeah, so it is very contradictory, because if you see, the web 3.0 has started rising from the start of, I think, 2020, but it is people are still doing their research, companies are still adapting it, so it will take a lot of time to enable it. Where on the other hand, cloud storage are currently the option, but more and more companies, for the sake of security and privacy, are moving to the blockchain technologies, and they will eventually move.
thank you, sir.
Thank you, Madhuri ma'am, and thank you, Mr. Waqar, for answering the questions. Any other queries? I had a question, but I got the answer from the discussion what two people did. So, any other queries besides that? I suppose there are no more queries. I'm passing the podium floor to Madhuri ma'am for delivering the thanks, vote of thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Vote of thanks. I'm here to present that. And on behalf of the Department of CSE, Computer Science and Engineering, ITER, Shiksha Anusandhan, deemed to be university, I extend our heartiest thanks to Mr. Ali for actually delivering such a simple yet elegant talk on Web 3.0, making us go through its various features, explain us the various parts and technologies, how it functions. It was so informative. As I would like to thank you from really for explaining us with examples as well. I would like to thank Farida Ali ma'am, Dr. Farida Ali, for getting us such a nice speaker on this Saturday evening. Thank you so much, ma'am. Last but not least, I must thank all the participants who have been patiently listening to the entire session. I must thank the convener of the program, our HOD, Dr. Debauti Mishra ma'am, who has conceived in how the program is delivered. This is the 48th week of the SOA weekly academic lecture, and we have successfully done 48 talks, so it's actually commendable. And at the same time, I would like to also thank all the organizing team members, the um, our Dr. Das for the YouTube link and the way he's hosting it. So we actually have this session recorded. It's there in our YouTube link, and students who want to listen to it can also have access to the link, and they can again go through it. If they have any doubts, we can also share the PPT, and we do look forward for an article from you, sir, because it will be published in our magazine, in our we have a weekly, like we have a magazine for all these articles, so we really do look forward for that, sir. And with this, I would like to thank everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you, Meer sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thank you everyone. Thank you, Madhuri ma'am.
Have a great weekend. Thank you, sir.
So let us stop this event now.
Thank you, ma'am.